The white wedding dress felt like a funeral shroud as Naomi sat sobbing on church steps, abandoned in front of everyone, homeless, jobless, with $20 to her name because Marcus had stripped away everything before leaving her for another woman. She had nowhere to sleep tonight, no one to call, and the suffocating realization that she was utterly, devastatingly alone. Then a 6-year-old with pigtails appeared, threw tiny arms around her and whispered, "Be my mum." Armed men in black suits rushed forward in panic, and a voice like thunder made her look up. Junwoo Park stood before her, devastatingly handsome and radiating lethal danger. A widowed crime boss whose daughter was clinging to a stranger like she'd found salvation. His dark eyes locked onto Naomi's broken face, seeing everything. The desperation, the fear, the absolute nothingness she had left. And he made an offer that was both her only lifeline and a deal with the devil. "Come with us. Be her nanny. Let me give you shelter when you have none." Naomi took his hand, not knowing she'd just bound herself to the most dangerous man in the city, a man who would become obsessed with her, whose enemies would hunt her for sport, and who would burn entire empires to ash before he'd let anyone take her from him again. The white wedding dress felt like a costume now. Naomi sat on the cold church steps, mascara running down her brown cheeks in black rivers. Her bouquet lay crushed beside her, petals scattered across the stone like her broken dreams. 3 hours ago, she'd been ready to marry Marcus. The church had been packed with people, the flowers perfect, the music playing. But Marcus never came. His best man had walked down the aisle instead, handing her a note that said he couldn't do it. He'd fallen in love with someone else. Everyone had stared, whispered. Then they'd all left, one by one, until Naomi sat completely alone in her $1,000 dress with nowhere to go. She pressed her face into her hands and sobbed. How could he do this? How could he leave her standing there like a fool in front of everyone? "Pretty lady, why are you crying?" Naomi looked up through her tears. A tiny Korean girl with pigtails stood in front of her, wearing a pink dress and light-up sneakers. She couldn't have been older than 6. Before Naomi could answer, the little girl threw her arms around her neck and hugged her tight. The embrace was so warm, so innocent, that Naomi's tears came harder. "It's okay," the child whispered, patting her back like Naomi had seen mothers do with sad children. "Don't be sad. Hana, get back here right now." 2 large men in black suits rushed towards them, looking panicked. They had earpieces and the kind of serious faces that meant business. "Miss Hana, you can't just run off like that," one said, reaching for the girl. But Hana clung tighter to Naomi, burying her face in the dirty wedding dress. "No, she needs me. She's crying. Your father is going to be very upset," the other guard said nervously. "I don't care," Hana said stubbornly. She pulled back and looked at Naomi with big, serious eyes. "Be my mum. My real mum went to heaven, and I've been waiting for a new one. You're perfect." Naomi's heart cracked open. This sweet child had no idea what she was saying, but the words hit like lightning. "Sweetie, I can't just—" "What's going on here?" The voice was deep, commanding, and sent a shiver down Naomi's spine. She looked up and forgot how to breathe. The man walking toward them was stunning, tall and powerful, with jet black hair styled perfectly and a face that belonged in magazines. He wore an expensive black suit that fit him like it was made by angels, and he moved like someone who owned the world. But his eyes were what caught her, dark, intense, and completely focused on his daughter wrapped around the strange crying woman on the church steps. This had to be Hannah's father, and he looked absolutely terrifying. "Sir, we're so sorry," one guard stammered. She saw this woman and just ran. We tried to stop her." The man's gaze moved from Hana to Naomi, and she felt like he was looking straight into her soul. His expression was unreadable, cold as winter. Everyone around them seemed to shrink back from his presence. "Daddy!" Hana beamed, completely unafraid. "Look, I found my new mum. Isn't she beautiful?" Naomi wanted the ground to swallow her whole. Here she was, a mess in a ruined wedding dress, being hugged by some rich man's daughter. "I'm so sorry," she managed. "She just came up to me. I didn't—" "She's crying because someone hurt her," Hana interrupted, her little voice fierce with protection. "Someone made her sad on her wedding day. That's mean, Daddy. Really, really mean." The man's eyes flickered to the crushed bouquet, the wedding dress, Naomi's tear-stained face. Understanding crossed his features, followed by something that might have been sympathy, but it vanished so quickly, Naomi thought she'd imagined it. He walked closer, each step measured and deliberate. When he stopped in front of them, Naomi had to tilt her head back to meet his gaze. He smelled like expensive cologne and danger. "Hana," he said softly, his voice gentler now. "Let the woman go. We need to leave." "No!" Hana held on tighter. "She needs us, Daddy. She's all alone. Her wedding man didn't come. That means she has nobody." Naomi flinched. The child was right, and hearing it out loud made everything worse. She had nobody. Her family was back in Nigeria, and her friends in the city had all been through Marcus. She'd moved here for him, given up everything for him, and now she was completely alone. "Please," Naomi whispered, trying to unwrap Hana's arms gently. "Your daddy's right. You should go." But Hana shook her head stubbornly. "I prayed for a mum. Every night I pray and pray. Then I saw you, and I just knew. God sent you." The man's jaw tightened. He studied Naomi again, longer this time, taking in every detail. She felt exposed under that gaze, like he could see all her pain and shame and loneliness. When his eyes met hers again, something hot and electric passed between them. Naomi's breath caught. "What's your name?" he asked. "Naomi," she whispered. "Naomi," he repeated, and her name sounded different in his deep voice, intimate somehow. "I'm Junwoo Park. This is my daughter, Hana." He crouched down beside them, and suddenly he was at eye level with Naomi. This close, she could see the perfect lines of his face, the way his lips were full and serious, the darkness in his eyes that spoke of secrets and danger. Her heart hammered against her ribs. "My daughter seems convinced you belong with us," he said quietly. "She hasn't smiled this much since her mother died 3 years ago." Naomi's throat tightened. "I'm sorry for your loss. Are you alone? Truly alone?" His eyes searched hers with an intensity that made her skin tingle. She nodded, not trusting her voice. Junwoo was silent for a long moment. Then he made a decision that Naomi saw flash across his face. He stood and pulled out his phone, speaking rapid Korean to someone. When he finished, he looked back down at her. "I need a nanny for Hana, someone who can live with us, care for her full time, someone she trusts." He paused, his gaze burning into hers. "The job is yours if you want it." Naomi stared at him in shock. "You don't even know me." "No," he agreed, "but my daughter does, and she's never wrong about people." His voice dropped lower, sending heat through Naomi's body. "Besides, something tells me you need this as much as we do." He was right. She had nowhere to go, no job, no home. Marcus had convinced her to quit her nursing job, saying he'd take care of everything. Now she had nothing. But moving in with a strange man and his daughter, a man who radiated power and danger, a man whose mere presence made her pulse race in ways that terrified her. "I don't know," she started. "Please." Hana squeezed her hand. "Please say yes. I'll be so good, I promise. And Daddy's nice once you know him. He looks scary, but he gives the best hugs." Junwoo's lips twitched, almost smiling. Almost. A black car pulled up to the curb, sleek and expensive. The door opened, waiting. "Last chance, Naomi," Junwoo said, extending his hand to help her up. "Come with us. Let us give you a place to stay, a job, a fresh start. Let my daughter have the person who makes her smile again." His hand hung in the air between them, strong and steady. Naomi looked at the church behind her, where she'd been humiliated. Then at the man and child in front of her, offering something impossible. Hana's hopeful face, Junwoo's intense dark eyes that made her feel things she shouldn't feel. She took his hand. His fingers closed around hers, warm and firm and sending electricity shooting up her arm. He pulled her to her feet effortlessly, and for a moment they stood too close, his hand still holding hers. The air between them crackled with something dangerous and thrilling. "You won't regret this," he said quietly, his voice like velvet and steel. But as Naomi climbed into the car with Hana chattering excitedly beside her and Junwoo sliding in across from them, his eyes never leaving her face, she wondered if she'd just made the best decision of her life or walked straight into beautiful, dangerous trouble. The mansion took Naomi's breath away. It sat behind tall iron gates, 3 stories of white stone and glass that looked more like a palace than a home. Gardens stretched in every direction, perfectly trimmed and dotted with fountains. Security cameras watched from every corner. "Welcome to your new home," Junwoo said as the car pulled up to the entrance. Naomi clutched her small overnight bag, suddenly feeling very small. She'd left everything at the apartment she'd shared with Marcus. This place made that apartment look like a closet. Hana grabbed her hand and pulled her inside. "Come on, I'll show you everything." The inside was even more stunning. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, artwork that probably cost more than Naomi had made in her entire life. Staff members bowed as Junwoo passed, their faces carefully blank. Everyone moved like they were afraid to make a sound. "Your room is in the west wing, next to Hana's," Junwoo said, walking ahead of them. His voice echoed in the vast hallway. "You'll have everything you need. If something is missing, tell Mrs. Choi. She manages the household." An older Korean woman appeared as if summoned, her expression stern. She looked Naomi up and down, with obvious disapproval, taking in the wrinkled wedding dress and smudged makeup. "Mrs. Choi, this is Naomi. She'll be caring for Hana from now on. Make sure she has appropriate clothing and anything else required." Mrs. Choi bowed stiffly. "Yes, sir." Naomi's room was bigger than her entire old apartment. A huge bed dominated the space, covered in silk sheets. French doors opened onto a balcony overlooking the gardens. The bathroom had a tub big enough to swim in. Everything was decorated in soft creams and golds, beautiful and expensive and not hers. "Do you like it?" Hana bounced on the bed excitedly. "It's beautiful," Naomi said honestly. "But sweetie, are you sure about this? About me?" "Super sure." Hana hugged her waist. "You feel right, like you were supposed to find us." Over the next few days, Naomi learned the rhythm of the house. She woke Hana each morning, helped her dress, made breakfast while Junwoo read newspapers in his study. She took Hana to the garden to play, read her stories, tucked her into bed at night. The little girl was smart and sweet and absolutely starved for affection. But she also learned other things, things that made her nervous. Men in suits came and went at all hours, speaking in low voices behind closed doors. Junwoo would disappear for days, coming back with tired eyes and tension in his shoulders. The guards weren't just for show, they carried guns. "What does your daddy do?" Naomi asked Mrs. Choi carefully one afternoon. The older woman's face went hard. "Mr. Park's business is his own. You're here for Miss Hana. Remember that." Naomi tried, but it was impossible to ignore the danger that hung over the house like a storm cloud. Impossible to ignore how people feared Junwoo, how they whispered the name Park like a curse or a prayer. She knew what he was, even if nobody said it out loud. She'd seen enough movies, heard enough stories. Junwoo Park ran an empire built on things that happened in shadows. She should have been terrified, should have packed her bags and run, but Hana needed her, and something about Junwoo himself kept pulling Naomi closer, even when her brain screamed to stay away. He was always polite, always respectful, but sometimes she'd catch him watching her with those dark, intense eyes. Sometimes their hands would brush when he handed her Hana's jacket, and electricity would spark between them. Sometimes he'd smile at something she said, and her whole body would warm. It was dangerous, stupid. He was her employer, a man who lived in a world she didn't understand, a man still grieving his dead wife, but her heart didn't care about logic. 2 weeks after moving in, Naomi couldn't sleep. The bed was too soft, the room too quiet. Her mind kept spinning with thoughts of Marcus, of her ruined wedding, of this strange new life. She pulled on a robe and stepped onto the balcony, letting the cool night air wash over her. The gardens glowed under moonlight, peaceful and still. For the first time since the wedding, Naomi let herself really feel everything. The hurt, the humiliation, the bone-deep loneliness of being abandoned by someone she trusted with her whole heart. Tears slipped down her cheeks silently. Can't sleep either. Naomi jumped and spun around. Junwoo stood in the balcony doorway, wearing dark pants and an unbuttoned shirt that showed his chest. His hair was messy, like he'd been running his hands through it. He looked tired and heartbreakingly handsome. "I'm sorry," she said quickly, wiping her eyes. "I didn't mean to disturb you." "You didn't." He stepped onto the balcony, keeping a respectful distance. "This is your home now, too. You can use any space you want." They stood in silence for a moment. Naomi was intensely aware of how little she wore under her thin robe, how close he stood, how the moonlight made his skin glow. "You're still hurting," he said quietly, "from what he did to you." It wasn't a question. Naomi nodded, not trusting her voice. "Tell me about him." She didn't want to, but something about the darkness, about Junwoo's presence beside her, made the words spill out. She told him about Marcus, about how they'd met at the hospital where she worked, how he'd swept her off her feet with grand gestures and bigger promises, how she'd left everything in Nigeria to build a life with him here. How he'd made her quit her job, isolate herself from friends, depend completely on him. And then he just left. She finished, her voice breaking. "A note, that's all I got. 3 years together, and I wasn't worth a conversation. He was a fool." Junwoo's voice was hard with anger. "Worse than a fool. He made you vulnerable, dependent, then threw you away like garbage. Men like that deserve to suffer." The protective fury in his tone sent heat through Naomi's body. "It's my fault too. I let him control everything. I stopped being my own person." "No." Junwoo moved closer, and suddenly there were only inches between them. "Don't blame yourself for trusting someone. That's not weakness. That's courage." His eyes held hers, dark and burning with intensity. Naomi's breath caught. "Why did you really offer me this job?" she whispered. "Because Hana needs you." He paused, then continued in a lower voice. "And because when I saw you on those steps, broken and alone, Something in me recognized something in you. We're the same, Naomi, both abandoned by people we loved, both trying to survive in the wreckage. Your wife, Naomi said softly. Hana said she died. What happened? Pain flickered across Junwoo's face. He turned to look at the gardens, his jaw tight. Cancer. It took her in 6 months, fast and brutal. She was Hana's whole world, my whole world. When she died, I died too. I've been walking through life like a ghost for 3 years. I'm sorry, Naomi said, and meant it completely. I stopped feeling anything, Junwoo continued, still not looking at her. Emotions became dangerous in my line of work anyway. I built walls so high that nothing could get through. I focused on business, on keeping Hana safe, on surviving each day. That was enough. He turned back to face her, and the look in his eyes made Naomi's heart race. Until you. The words hung in the air between them, heavy with meaning. Junwoo, Naomi breathed. I see you with my daughter, and I feel warmth again, he said, moving even closer. I hear you laugh, and something inside me wakes up. I watch you move through my house, and suddenly it feels like a home instead of a prison. His hand lifted slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, he cupped her cheek with a gentleness that made her eyes sting with tears. You're bringing me back to life, Naomi, and it terrifies me. I'm terrified too, she admitted, leaning into his touch without meaning to. You're dangerous. Your world is dangerous. I should run as far away as possible. But you won't. His thumb stroked her cheekbone, sending shivers down her spine. No, she whispered. I won't. Why? Because you make me feel safe, even though you're the most dangerous thing in my life, she thought. Because when you look at me, I feel beautiful again. Because Hana loves me, and I love her, and you're part of that package. Because even though we're both broken, maybe we can heal each other. Because I see you too, she said instead. The real you, underneath all the walls and danger, and I'm not afraid of that person. Junwoo's eyes darkened with desire and something deeper. His other hand came up to cradle her face, tilting it toward his. They were so close now that Naomi could feel his breath on her lips. If we do this, he said roughly, if we cross this line, there's no going back. You'll be mine, Naomi. In my world, I don't share. I don't let go. Once I claim you, you're mine forever. The possessive words should have scared her. Instead, they set her on fire. Then claim me, she whispered. Junwoo's control snapped. He pulled her against him and kissed her like a man drowning, and she was air. His lips were firm and demanding, taking and giving at the same time. Naomi melted into him, her hands sliding up his chest to grip his shoulders. The kiss was everything. Desperate and tender, rough and careful, filled with 3 years of loneliness from both of them. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Junwoo pressed his forehead to hers. I haven't kissed anyone since my wife died, he confessed. I thought I never would again. I haven't wanted anyone to touch me since Marcus left, Naomi said. I thought I was too broken. We're both broken. Junwoo kissed her again, softer this time, but maybe we can be broken together. They stood wrapped in each other's arms under the moonlight, 2 damaged souls finding comfort in the darkness, and for the first time since her wedding day, Naomi felt like maybe, just maybe, being abandoned at the altar was the best thing that ever happened to her, because it led her here, to this man, to this moment. To the beginning of something that felt like destiny. Everything changed after that first kiss. Naomi woke the next morning with Junwoo's taste still on her lips and butterflies dancing in her stomach. She told herself to be professional, to focus on caring for Hana, to pretend nothing had happened That lasted exactly 10 minutes. She walked into the kitchen to make breakfast and found Junwoo already there, leaning against the counter with a coffee cup. He was dressed for business in a sharp navy suit, his hair perfectly styled. When his eyes met hers, heat flooded through her entire body. "Good morning," he said, his voice dropping to that intimate tone he'd used last night. "Morning," Naomi managed, suddenly very aware that she wore only pajama shorts and a tank top. His gaze travelled slowly down her body and back up, lingering in ways that made her skin tingle. "Did you sleep well?" "Not really." She moved to the refrigerator, trying to act normal. "I kept thinking about things." "What kind of things?" He set down his coffee and moved closer. "Junwoo," she warned, glancing at the doorway. "Someone could come in." "Let them." But he respected her concern, stopping just close enough that she could smell his cologne. "I want to take you to dinner tonight, a real date." "What about Hana? Mrs. Choi can watch her for a few hours." His hand reached out, fingers brushing her wrist so lightly it might have been an accident. Except nothing about Junwoo was accidental. "Say yes, Naomi." She should say no. This was moving too fast, getting too complicated. But when she looked into his dark eyes and saw the hope there, the vulnerability he showed no one else, she couldn't resist. Yes. His smile transformed his whole face, making him look younger and almost boyish. Before either of them could say more, they heard Hana's footsteps running down the hall. Junwoo stepped back quickly, creating proper distance, but his eyes stayed on Naomi, promising things that made her blush. Keeping their relationship secret proved impossible, not from Hana, who was too young to notice the tension crackling between the adults, but from everyone else in the house. The stolen moments became addictive. Junwoo would find Naomi in the library and pull her between the bookshelves, kissing her breathless while his hands roamed her curves. She'd bring him coffee in his study, and he'd tug her onto his lap, nuzzling her neck until she gasped his name. They'd pass each other in hallways, and he'd catch her wrist, pressing her against the wall for kisses that left them both aching for more. "This is dangerous," Naomi whispered one afternoon when he'd cornered her in the empty dining room. His lips were doing incredible things to the sensitive spot behind her ear. "I know," he murmured against her skin. "I don't care." His hands slid under her shirt, fingers tracing her ribs, and Naomi forgot why she'd been protesting. She pulled his face up to hers and kissed him deeply, pouring all her want and need into it. "Sir, the meeting starts in 5 minutes." They jumped apart like guilty teenagers. Tae-sung stood in the doorway, Junwoo's right-hand man and head of security. His expression was carefully neutral, but Naomi saw disapproval in his eyes. "I'll be right there," Junwoo said coolly, already back in control. Tae-sung nodded and left, but not before giving Naomi a look that made her uncomfortable. "Don't worry about him," Junwoo said, straightening his tie. "Tae-sung worries about everything." But Naomi did worry, because she saw how the staff whispered when she passed, how the guards exchanged glances when Junwoo touched her hand at dinner, how Mrs. Choi's disapproval grew colder each day. Their dinner date happened 3 nights later. Junwoo took her to a restaurant so exclusive it didn't have a name, just an address that only certain people knew. They sat in a private room with silk walls and candlelight, completely alone. "This is beautiful," Naomi said, looking around in wonder. She wore a black dress that Mrs. Choi had grudgingly provided, simple but elegant. "You're beautiful." Junwoo reached across the table to take her hand. "I can't stop looking at you." The evening felt like a dream. They talked about everything, learning each other in ways the stolen moments didn't allow. He told her about growing up poor in Seoul, about building his empire from nothing, about the choices he'd made that led him down this dark path. She told him about her childhood in Lagos, her dreams of becoming a doctor before money ran out, how nursing had been her compromise with reality. "You should go back to school," Junwoo said seriously. "Study medicine like you wanted. I'll pay for everything." "I can't let you do that." "Why not? I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. Let me use it for something good, for you." The way he said it, like investing in her dreams was the most natural thing in the world, made Naomi's throat tight with emotion. After dinner, they walked through the restaurant's private garden. Junwoo pulled her close, wrapping his jacket around her shoulders against the cool air. "I haven't been this happy in years," he admitted quietly. "You've given me something I thought I'd lost forever." "What's that?" "Hope." He turned her to face him, his hands framing her face. "Hope that life can be more than just surviving, that I can feel joy again, that maybe I deserve a second chance at love." "You do," Naomi said fiercely. "You deserve everything good, Junwoo." He kissed her then, deep and slow and full of promise. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, his eyes burned with desire. "Come home with me," he said roughly. "To my room. I want you, Naomi. I want to show you exactly how much you mean to me." Her whole body went hot. "Junwoo, I don't know if we should move that fast. We'll only do what you're comfortable with, but I need to hold you, to touch you properly, to make you feel how much I want you." His thumb traced her bottom lip. "Please." How could she resist? She nodded, and the hunger that flashed across his face made her knees weak. They barely made it through the front door before he was kissing her again, backing her against the wall with his body pressed to hers. His hands were everywhere, reverent and desperate at the same time. Naomi clutched his shoulders, drowning in sensation. "My room," he growled against her mouth. "Now." They stumbled up the stairs together, stopping every few steps to kiss again. By the time they reached his bedroom, Naomi's dress was half unzipped and Junwoo's shirt was untucked. His room was masculine and spare, dominated by a massive bed. He locked the door behind them and turned to her, his expression raw with need. "Tell me you want this," he said. "Tell me you want me." "I want you," Naomi whispered. "So much it scares me." Junwoo crossed to her in 2 strides, capturing her mouth in a searing kiss. His hands slid the dress off her shoulders, letting it pool at her feet. He stepped back to look at her in just her underwear, his eyes drinking in every curve. "Perfect," he breathed. "You're absolutely perfect." For the first time since Marcus left her, Naomi felt truly beautiful. Junwoo looked at her, like she was treasure, like he couldn't believe his luck. When he touched her, his hands were gentle but possessive, claiming every inch of her skin. He carried her to the bed and showed her exactly how much he wanted her, kissing every part of her body until she trembled. They explored each other slowly, learning what made the other gasp and moan. When they finally came together, it felt like coming home. Afterward, Naomi lay in his arms, her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. His fingers traced lazy patterns on her bare shoulder. "Stay tonight," he murmured. "Sleep here with me. What about Hana? What will everyone think?" "I don't care what they think." He kissed her forehead. "But we'll be discreet for Hana's sake, for now." Naomi dozed off, feeling safe and wanted and deliciously satisfied. For the first time in forever, the future looked bright. She woke to harsh voices outside the door. "You're being reckless!" That was Tae-sung, his voice tight with anger. "Do you know what people are saying? The Park family head is distracted by some woman. You're showing weakness." Lower your voice, Junwoo said coldly from somewhere in the room, and watch how you speak about her. Sir, please listen. The Huang family is watching for any opening. If they think you're vulnerable because of her, they'll strike. She's a target now. Naomi sat up, clutching the sheet to her chest. Junwoo stood by the window, fully dressed, his expression carved from stone. When he heard her move, his face softened. Give us a minute, he told Tae-sung. His right-hand man shot Naomi a look that might have been pity before leaving. Junwoo came to sit on the edge of the bed, taking her hand. What did he mean? Naomi asked, fear creeping in. That I'm a target? My world has enemies. People who would use anything to hurt me. His jaw clenched. If they know I care about you, they might try to use you against me. Maybe we should stop this then, before someone gets hurt. No. His hand tightened on hers, almost painful. I'm not giving you up, Naomi. I'll increase security, keep you safe, but I won't let them take you from me. Junwoo, I'm not worth starting a war over. He pulled her into his arms, holding her so tight she could barely breathe. You're worth everything. Don't you understand? You brought me back to life. I won't lose you. Not to my enemies, not to fear, not to anything. His intensity should have terrified her. Instead, it made her feel cherished in a way she'd never experienced. Promise me you'll be careful, she whispered against his chest. I promise, and I promise that anyone who tries to hurt you will regret it for the rest of their very short life. The darkness in his voice reminded Naomi exactly who she was falling in love with, a dangerous man who lived in a dangerous world, a man who would kill to protect what was his, and she was his now, completely, utterly his. The question was whether that would save her or destroy her. 2 weeks passed in careful bliss. Junwoo doubled security around the mansion, assigned guards to follow Naomi everywhere, and made sure she understood the rules. Stay alert. Don't go anywhere alone. Trust no one outside the family. Naomi tried not to feel suffocated by it all. The guards, the cameras, the constant watching. But she understood. In Junwoo's world, love came with a price. I need to go shopping, she told Mrs. Choi one afternoon. Hana's growing out of everything. Mrs. Choi nodded stiffly. I'll arrange for guards. Can I at least pick which ones? Naomi asked, trying to lighten the mood. The one who follows me to the bathroom makes me uncomfortable. For the first time ever, Mrs. Choi's lips twitched, almost a smile. I'll send Dimitri and Kenji. They're professionals. The mall was crowded with afternoon shoppers. Naomi browsed through children's clothes with Dimitri trailing 3 steps behind and Kenji covering the entrance. She picked out cute dresses for Hana, imagining the little girl's excited squeals. Miss Naomi, we should leave soon, Dimitri said quietly. Too many people, too many exits. Just 5 more minutes. I want to find her a birthday present. Hana's 7th birthday was next week, and Naomi wanted it to be perfect. She wandered toward the toy section, completely focused on finding the perfect doll, which is why she didn't notice the man approaching until he was right beside her. Excuse me, miss? Can you help me reach that toy on the top shelf? Naomi turned with a polite smile. The man was young, friendly-looking, wearing a mall employee uniform. Sure, which one? The moment she stepped closer, his hand shot out and clamped over her mouth. Something sharp pricked her neck. The world tilted sideways. She heard Dimitri shout, heard gunshots, saw people screaming and running. Then everything went black. Naomi woke to pain. Her head throbbed. Her wrists burned from tight ropes, and her mouth was dry as sand. She blinked in the darkness, trying to remember where she was. A warehouse. She could tell from the echoing sounds, the smell of oil and rust. Dim light filtered through high windows. She was tied to a metal chair, her arms wrenched behind her back. "She's awake!" A man stepped into view, older, with grey hair and a cruel smile. He wore an expensive suit that didn't match the dirty surroundings. "Miss Naomi, welcome. I'm Chairman Huang. You've been causing my organisation some problems." "I don't know what you're talking about," Naomi said, her voice shaking. "No? You've distracted Junwoo Park, made him soft, weak. He used to be sharp as a knife, but now..." Chairman Huang laughed. "Now he's too busy playing house with his dead wife's replacement to notice us moving against him." Anger cut through Naomi's fear. "I'm not replacing anyone. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you're valuable to him, and that makes you valuable to me." He pulled out a phone and snapped a photo of Naomi tied up, tears streaking her face. "This should get his attention." "He'll kill you," Naomi said with absolute certainty. "He'll try, but first he'll negotiate. He'll give me what I want to get you back." Chairman Huang leaned close, his breath hot on her face. "Unless he takes too long, then I'll send him pieces of you until he cooperates." Terror flooded through Naomi, but she refused to let it show. She thought of Junwoo, of Hana, of the life she'd just started to build. She couldn't die in this dirty warehouse. Not now. Not when she'd finally found happiness. Somewhere in the distance, she heard shouting, gunfire. Chairman Huang's smile vanished. "What's happening?" he barked at his men. The warehouse door exploded inward with a deafening crash. Men in black tactical gear flooded through, weapons raised, and leading them, fury carved into every line of his face, was Junwoo. Naomi had never seen him like this. He moved like violence personified, a gun in each hand, his eyes burning with rage. He shot 2 of Huang's men before they could even raise their weapons. The others scattered, but Junwoo's team was everywhere, cutting off escape routes. "Touch her, and you die where you stand," Junwoo said to Chairman Huang, his voice dead calm in a way that was more terrifying than screaming. Huang grabbed Naomi, pressing a knife to her throat. "Stay back! I'll kill her!" Junwoo didn't even hesitate. He shot the knife out of Huang's hand with impossible precision, then crossed the space between them in seconds. He grabbed the older man by the throat and slammed him against the wall so hard the concrete cracked. "You touched what's mine." Each word was punctuated by slamming Huang against the wall again. "Do you understand what you've done?" "Junwoo," Naomi called weakly. "Please." His head whipped toward her, and the murder in his eyes softened instantly. He dropped Huang in a heap and rushed to Naomi, pulling a knife to cut through the ropes binding her. "I've got you," he murmured, catching her as she collapsed forward. "I've got you, baby. You're safe now." Naomi buried her face in his chest and sobbed. All the fear, all the terror came pouring out. Junwoo held her so tight she could barely breathe, one hand cradling her head, the other wrapped around her waist. "Tae-sung, clean this up," he ordered without looking away from Naomi. "Make sure Huang understands the consequences of his actions, permanently." "With pleasure, sir." Junwoo carried Naomi out of the warehouse. Like she weighed nothing, he settled her in the back of his car, climbing in beside her and pulling her onto his lap. Even as the car sped toward home, he couldn't stop touching her, his hands running over her arms, her face, her hair, checking for injuries. "Did they hurt you?" His voice was rough with barely controlled emotion. "Tell me the truth." "Just scared me, and the injection to knock me out." She showed him the small puncture wound on her neck. "How did you find me so fast?" I have tracking devices sewn into all your clothes. The second your guard's panic button went off, I knew. His jaw clenched. I had every available man searching, called in favours from people I haven't spoken to in years. I would have burned this entire city down to find you. The intensity in his voice made Naomi shiver. You came for me. Of course I came for you. Did you think I wouldn't? He cupped her face, forcing her to meet his eyes. You're mine, Naomi. Mine to protect, mine to cherish, mine to love. Nothing and no one will take you from me. Do you understand? Yes, she whispered. I love you. The words burst from him like they'd been locked inside too long. I'm completely, desperately in love with you. When I got that photo of you tied up, something inside me broke. I realised that if I lost you, I'd have nothing left worth living for. Tears spilled down Naomi's cheeks. I love you too, so much. I was so scared I'd never get to tell you. He kissed her then, fierce and claiming and full of relief. Never again. I'm never letting you out of my sight again. They made it home just as the sun was setting. Junwoo carried Naomi straight to his room, ignoring everyone's questions and concerns. He set her gently on the bed and locked the door behind them. I need to see that you're okay, he said, his hands already reaching for her torn shirt. I need to touch every part of you and know you're really here. Naomi understood completely. She needed the same thing, needed to feel alive, to feel safe, to feel loved after coming so close to death. They undressed each other slowly, checking for bruises and cuts, kissing every mark they found. When Junwoo's fingers traced the rope burns on her wrists, his eyes went dark with fury again. They'll pay for this. Every mark on your body, they'll pay for. I don't want to think about them right now. Naomi pulled him down to her, wrapping her legs around his waist. I just want you. Please, Junwoo, make me forget everything except us. He made love to her like she was precious and fragile, but also like he needed to reclaim every inch of her. His hands and mouth were everywhere, worshipping her body, reminding her that she was safe, that she was his, that she was loved. You're my everything, he whispered against her skin between kisses. My reason for breathing. My heart outside my body. Show me, Naomi gasped, her fingers digging into his shoulders. Show me how much you love me. He did, over and over, until they were both exhausted and satisfied, their bodies tangled together in the sheets. Naomi lay with her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat, feeling more content than she'd ever been, despite the terror of the day. Marry me! Naomi's head shot up. What? Junwoo sat up slightly, reaching for something on his nightstand. When he turned back, he held a small black box. Inside was the most beautiful ring Naomi had ever seen. A huge diamond surrounded by smaller stones that sparkled in the lamplight. Marry me, Naomi. Not because Hana needs a mother, though she does. Not because it's convenient or practical. Marry me because I'm desperately, completely in love with you. Because you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Because I want to spend every day for the rest of my life making you happy. His hands shook slightly as he held the ring. This powerful, dangerous man was nervous asking her to marry him. It made Naomi's heart overflow with love. When I thought I might lose you today, he continued, his voice breaking, I realised I'd been wasting time, playing it safe. But there's no safe in my world. There's only now, this moment, this choice. I choose you, Naomi. I'll always choose you. So please, say you'll choose me too. Naomi couldn't see through her tears. Happy tears this time, so different from the ones she'd cried at her first wedding. Yes, I'll marry you. I love you so much, Junwoo. He slid the ring onto her finger and it fit perfectly. Then he was kissing her again, laughing against her mouth, pulling her close. You've made me the happiest man alive, he said between kisses. I promise I'll spend every day earning this, earning you. You already have. Naomi held up her hand, watching the ring catch the light. When do you want to do this? Tomorrow. Today. Right now, if possible. He grinned, looking younger and more carefree than she'd ever seen him. But we should probably tell Hannah first. She'll want to plan everything. They stayed up for hours, talking about the future, about their wedding, about the life they'd build together. And when they finally fell asleep, wrapped in each other's arms, Naomi knew with absolute certainty that she was exactly where she belonged. She'd been abandoned at the altar once, but this time, her groom would move heaven and earth to get to her. This time, love was real and deep and forever. This time, she was choosing right. I'm getting a real mum, Hannah shrieked, bouncing on Naomi's bed the morning after the proposal. I knew it. I told you God sent you to us. Naomi laughed, pulling the excited little girl into her arms. You were absolutely right, sweetie. Can I be the flower girl? Please, please, please. I'll be so good. I'll practice walking slowly and everything. Of course you can be the flower girl. Naomi kissed the top of Hannah's head, her heart overflowing. You're the most important person at this wedding. Without you, your daddy and I never would have met. Junwoo appeared in the doorway, already dressed for work but smiling at the scene before him. My two favourite girls, planning the wedding without me. Daddy! Naomi said I can be the flower girl. Hannah launched herself at him, and he caught her easily. I wouldn't have it any other way, princess. He met Naomi's eyes over Hannah's head, and the love there made her breath catch. How about we all have breakfast together? We have a lot to discuss. The reality of planning a wedding in Junwoo's world hit Naomi quickly. This wasn't going to be a simple ceremony. He was the head of one of the most powerful families in the city. Every business partner, every ally, every connection would need to be invited. The wedding wasn't just about them anymore, it was a statement. I need you to meet some people, Junwoo told her a few days later. Family members, business associates. They'll want to judge whether you're suitable. Judge me? Naomi's stomach twisted with nerves. They won't find you lacking. He pulled her close, his hand settling on her waist. But they'll test you anyway. My world is complicated, baby. People will want to see if you're strong enough to stand beside me. What if I'm not? You are. You survived being kidnapped and came out stronger. You handle Hannah better than anyone ever has. You look at my life, at all the darkness and danger, and you still choose to stay. He kissed her forehead. You're exactly strong enough. The first family dinner happened that weekend. Naomi dressed carefully in an elegant navy dress that Mrs. Choi had grudgingly approved. Her engagement ring caught the light as she smoothed her hands over the fabric nervously. You look stunning, Junwoo said, appearing behind her in the mirror. He wrapped his arms around her waist, nuzzling her neck. Good enough to skip dinner and stay here instead. Don't tempt me. But Naomi leaned back into his embrace, drawing strength from his presence. The dining room was full of people when they entered. Junwoo's uncle, a severe man named Director Kang, his cousin Soo Jin, a beautiful woman with calculating eyes, various business partners whose names Naomi struggled to remember. They all went quiet when she and Junwoo walked in hand. Everyone, this is Naomi, Junwoo announced. My fiancée, the woman I'm going to marry. The pride in his voice made Naomi stand taller. She met each person's eyes steadily, refusing to show fear even though her heart raced. Director Kang spoke first. You're the nanny, the one who was abandoned at her wedding. I was, Naomi said calmly. Best thing that ever happened to me. Otherwise, I never would have found this family. Soo Jin's lips curved in a cold smile. How convenient for you. landing a rich man after being rejected by a poor one. Soo-jin, Junwoo's voice went deadly quiet. You will apologize to my future wife, now. The room went silent. Soo-jin's face paled, but she bowed her head stiffly. My apologies. I spoke out of turn. Naomi touched Junwoo's hand gently. It's okay. I understand the concern. You all want to protect him. I would too if I were in your position. She looked around the table, making sure everyone heard her next words. I'm not here for his money. I'm here because I love him and his daughter with my whole heart. I'll stand beside him through anything, support him however I can, and do whatever it takes to make this family stronger. That's my promise to all of you. The sincerity in her voice must have shone through. Director Kang nodded slowly. Time will tell if those are just pretty words, but you have spirit. That's something at least. The dinner continued with less hostility. Naomi answered their questions honestly, told them about her background, her nursing experience, her dreams. Junwoo's hand found hers under the table, squeezing reassuringly every time someone asked something difficult. By the end of the evening, she'd won over most of the room. Director Kang even smiled at her once. Soo-jin remained cold but respectful. You were magnificent, Junwoo told her later as they got ready for bed. His hands worked the zipper of her dress down slowly, his lips trailing kisses along her spine. The way you handled them, the way you defended yourself without being defensive. I've never been more proud. I was terrified, Naomi admitted, turning in his arms, but I kept thinking about what you said, that I'm strong enough for this. You're stronger than you know. He lifted her and carried her to the bed, laying her down gently. Let me show you how much I appreciate my brave, beautiful fiancé. He worshipped her body with his hands and mouth, taking his time, learning every response that made her gasp and tremble. When they finally came together, it was slow and deep and filled with emotion. I love you, he whispered against her lips as they moved together. My perfect match, my everything. I love you too, Naomi gasped, her nails digging into his shoulders. So much it scares me. Don't be scared. I've got you, always. The weeks leading up to the wedding flew by in a whirlwind of planning. Hana was involved in every decision, from picking flowers to tasting cake. She took her flower girl duties very seriously, practicing her walk every day. Naomi watched Junwoo change during this time. He smiled more, laughed with Hana, came home earlier from work. The cold, dangerous man she'd first met was still there, but now he was balanced by warmth and joy. I'm restructuring some business operations, he told her one night as they lay tangled in bedsheets, both satisfied and sleepy. His fingers traced lazy patterns on her bare shoulder. Getting out of the parts that are too dangerous. I want a future where I come home to you every night, where Hana doesn't have to worry about her daddy getting hurt. Can you really do that? Just step back. It won't be easy, but yes, I've been in this life long enough, built enough power and money to protect what matters. Now I want to actually enjoy it. He pulled her closer, his lips brushing her forehead. I want to grow old with you, Naomi. Watch Hana graduate. Have more children if you want them. Travel the world. I want a real life, not just survival. Tears pricked Naomi's eyes. I want that too. All of it. They made love again, slower this time, savouring every touch and kiss. Junwoo was incredibly attentive, learning exactly what she needed, what made her lose control completely. And Naomi discovered she loved the power she had over him, how a simple touch could make him groan, how saying his name in a certain way made his control snap. You've ruined me for anyone else, he murmured afterward, holding her against his chest. Not that there could ever be anyone else. You're it for me, baby, my last and forever love. Good, Naomi said fiercely, because you're mine too. I'm never letting you go. The wedding preparations continued. Naomi picked a stunning white dress, different from the one she'd worn for Marcus. This one was elegant and sophisticated, with lace details and a long train. When Junwoo saw her in it during the fitting, his eyes went dark with desire. "We're not making it through the reception," he said roughly. "The moment we're married, I'm taking you somewhere private." "Junwoo!" But Naomi laughed, feeling beautiful and desired and completely happy. She also started taking business classes at his insistence. "If you're going to be my wife, you need to understand the legitimate side of my operations," he explained. "I want you as my partner in everything." Naomi threw herself into learning, discovering she had a head for business strategy. Junwoo was impressed by her insights, often asking her opinion on deals and contracts. "You're a natural at this," he said after she'd helped him negotiate a particularly difficult contract. "My brilliant, beautiful wife. Not your wife yet. Soon." He pulled her into his lap in his office chair, not caring that they were at work. "One more week, and you'll be mine in every way that matters." "I'm already yours in every way that matters," Naomi said, wrapping her arms around his neck. They kissed deeply, passion building quickly between them. His hands slid under her skirt, fingers tracing her thighs, and Naomi moaned into his mouth. "Lock the door," she whispered. He didn't need to be told twice. They made love right there in his office, urgent and desperate and completely consumed by each other. Afterward, as they straightened their clothes and tried to look professional again, they couldn't stop laughing. "I can't believe we just did that," Naomi said, checking her reflection. "Get used to it. I can't keep my hands off you." Junwoo pulled her back for one more kiss. "1 week, baby. 1 week, and you'll be Mrs. Park." The night before the wedding, they spent apart at Mrs. Choi's insistence. "It's tradition," the older woman said firmly. "Bad luck to see each other." Naomi stayed in her room with Hana, who was too excited to sleep. They painted their nails, talked about the ceremony, and Hana shared stories about her mother. "She would have liked you," Hana said seriously. "She always told Daddy to find someone who made him laugh again. You do that." "I hope so," Naomi said, hugging the little girl close. "And I hope you know I'm not trying to replace your mum. She'll always be your first mum. I'm just lucky enough to be your second one." "I love you, Naomi," Hana said, looking up at her with tear-filled eyes. "Thank you for choosing us." "I love you too, sweetheart. Thank you for choosing me first." They fell asleep, cuddled together, and Naomi dreamed of wedding dresses and flower petals, and a man with dark eyes who looked at her like she hung the moon. Tomorrow, she'd marry him. Tomorrow, she'd officially become part of this family. Tomorrow, her real life would begin. And unlike the first time she'd prepared to walk down an aisle, Naomi knew with absolute certainty that her groom would be waiting. This time, love was real. This time, forever meant forever. This time, she was exactly where she belonged. Naomi woke on her wedding day to sunlight streaming through the windows and Hana jumping on her bed. "It's wedding day! Wedding day! You're going to be my real mum today." Laughing, Naomi pulled the excited girl into her arms. "I already am your real mum, sweetie. Today just makes it official." Mrs. Choi appeared in the doorway, her expression softer than Naomi had ever seen it. "Time to get ready. We have much to do." The next few hours passed in a blur of hair, makeup, and the most beautiful dress Naomi had ever worn. White silk and lace flowed around her like water, making her feel like a princess. The stylist wove flowers into her dark hair, and when Naomi finally looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. "You look like an angel," Hana breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. The little girl wore a pink dress with flowers matching Naomi's bouquet. "You look beautiful too, flower girl." Naomi knelt carefully, mindful of her dress. "Are you ready for this? Ready to become a family officially?" "I've been ready since the day I met you." Hannah threw her arms around Naomi's neck, careful not to mess up her hair. "I love you so much." "I love you too, my sweet girl." Mrs. Choi cleared her throat, and when Naomi looked up, the older woman had tears in her eyes. "Mr. Park is a lucky man. I was wrong about you. You've brought life back to this house, back to that man and his daughter. Thank you." The words meant more than Naomi could express. She stood and hugged Mrs. Choi, both women crying happy tears. The ceremony was being held in the mansion's gardens, transformed into something magical. White flowers covered every surface, crystal decorations caught the sunlight like diamonds, and hundreds of guests filled elegant chairs. Music played softly as Naomi waited behind the house with Hannah. "Nervous?" Tae-sung asked, appearing beside them. He looked uncomfortable in his formal suit. "Not even a little bit," Naomi said honestly. "I know exactly where I belong." He nodded approvingly. "Good. The boss has been pacing for an hour. I've never seen him this anxious." That made Naomi smile. Powerful, dangerous Junwoo Park, nervous about marrying her. The music changed. Hannah squeezed Naomi's hand once, then started down the aisle, carefully, dropping rose petals and beaming at everyone. Whispers of "so cute and adorable" followed her progress. Then it was Naomi's turn. She stepped into view, and the entire crowd went silent. But Naomi only had eyes for one person. Junwoo stood at the altar in a perfectly tailored black tuxedo, and the look on his face when he saw her made her heart stop. Love, desire, reverence, and pure joy mixed together in an expression so raw it took her breath away. His eyes shone with unshed tears. She walked toward him slowly, drinking in every detail, his hands clenched and unclenched at his sides, like he was physically restraining himself from running to her. His chest rose and fell with quick breaths. When she finally reached him, he took her hands in his, and she felt him trembling. "You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "I can't believe you're mine." "Believe it," Naomi whispered back. "I'm yours, completely and forever." The officiant began speaking, but Naomi barely heard the words. She was lost in Junwoo's eyes, in the feeling of his hands holding hers, in the absolute certainty that this was right. "Do you, Junwoo Park, take Naomi to be your lawfully wedded wife, to love, honour, and cherish, in sickness and health, for richer or poorer, as long as you both shall live?" "I do." His voice rang out clear and strong, full of conviction. "With everything I am, I do. And do you, Naomi, take Junwoo Park to be your lawfully wedded husband, to love, honour, and cherish, in sickness and health, for richer or poorer, as long as you both shall live?" Naomi smiled through happy tears. "I do. Always and forever, I do. Then, by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride." Junwoo didn't hesitate. He pulled Naomi against him and kissed her like they were the only two people in the world, deep, passionate, claiming. The crowd erupted in applause and cheers, but neither of them noticed. "Mine," he murmured against her lips. "Finally, completely mine." "Yours," she agreed breathlessly, "and you're mine." When they finally broke apart, both grinning like fools, Hannah launched herself at them. Junwoo scooped her up with one arm while keeping the other around Naomi. "We're a family now!" Hannah announced to everyone. I told you she'd be my mum. I told everyone. The guests laughed warmly. Director Kang even smiled. Soo-jin dabbed at her eyes with a handkerchief. The reception was magnificent. Music, dancing, food that tasted like heaven. Naomi met more business associates and family members, but this time she stood confidently at Junwoo's side as his equal, his wife, his partner. I need you alone, Junwoo growled in her ear during their first dance. His hand on her lower back pulled her indecently close. I've been fantasizing about getting you out of this dress all day. Soon, Naomi promised, her body heating at the desire in his voice. We have to stay a little longer. I'm giving it 1 more hour. Then I'm carrying you out of here whether we've said goodbye to everyone or not. He kept his word. Exactly 1 hour later, he swept Naomi into his arms and carried her through the crowd toward the house. Ignoring the catcalls and laughter, Hana waved goodbye happily, already in Mrs. Choi's care for the night. Where are we going? Naomi laughed, clinging to his neck. Our room, where I'm going to make love to my wife properly. The words sent shivers through her. Wife. She was his wife now. Junwoo kicked the bedroom door closed behind them and set Naomi on her feet. For a moment, they just looked at each other, the reality of it all sinking in. We did it, she whispered. We're married. We're married, he repeated, reaching up to carefully remove the flowers from her hair. You're mine forever now. No take-backs. I wouldn't take it back even if I could. Naomi turned so he could unzip her dress. This is exactly where I want to be. The dress pooled at her feet, leaving her in white lace that made Junwoo's breath catch. My beautiful wife, he said reverently, his hands skimming her curves. I'm going to spend all night showing you how much I love you. He did exactly that. They made love slowly, savouring every touch and kiss, both overwhelmed by the emotions of the day. Junwoo whispered promises against her skin between kisses, promises to love her forever, protect her always, make her happy every single day. I never thought I could feel this way again, he confessed, as they lay tangled together afterward, both breathless and satisfied. After my first wife died, I was certain that part of my life was over. Then you crashed into my world in a wedding dress, and everything changed. I never thought I'd get a second chance at love either, Naomi said, tracing patterns on his chest. Marcus leaving me felt like the end of everything, but it was actually the beginning of us. Thank God for that, Junwoo said fervently, pulling her closer. Thank God he was an idiot who didn't see what he had. His loss is my gain. They spent their wedding night learning each other in new ways, celebrating their love, promising forever with their bodies and hearts and souls. The months that followed were the happiest of Naomi's life. She settled into her role as Junwoo's wife and Hana's mother completely. She continued her business classes, started helping with the legitimate parts of Junwoo's empire, and discovered she was actually good at it. Junwoo kept his promise to step back from the dangerous parts of his business. He restructured his operations, delegated more, focused on legal ventures. It wasn't easy, and there were still dangerous moments, but he was committed to building a safer future for his family. I have something to tell you, Naomi said one morning, 3 months after the wedding. They were having breakfast together, just the 3 of them, enjoying a rare quiet moment. What is it? Junwoo looked up from his coffee, immediately focused on her. Naomi pulled out a small white stick and set it on the table. Junwoo stared at it, then at her, his eyes going wide. Is that what I think it is? I'm pregnant. Naomi couldn't stop smiling. We're having a baby. Junwoo's chair crashed backward as he stood, crossing to her in 2 strides and lifting her into his arms. He spun her around, laughing with pure joy. A baby! We're having a baby! I'm going to be a big sister! Hana shrieked, bouncing in her seat. Really? Really, really? Really, really? Naomi confirmed, laughing as Junwoo set her down and immediately placed his hands on her still flat stomach. There's a baby in there. Our baby. He looked at her with such wonder and love that Naomi's eyes filled with tears. You've given me everything, Naomi. Everything I never thought I'd have again. A wife, a growing family, a reason to be better. You gave me the same, she said, cupping his face. You saved me when I was broken. You loved me when I thought I was unlovable. You gave me a daughter and a home and a purpose. They kissed deeply, Hana making exaggerated, grossed-out noises that made them laugh. The pregnancy was easy and joyful. Junwoo was incredibly attentive, constantly worried about Naomi's comfort and health. He read every pregnancy book he could find, asked their doctor a million questions, and talked to her growing belly every night. Hey there, little one, he'd murmur, his hand spread across her stomach. This is your daddy. I'm so excited to meet you. Your big sister Hana can't wait either. She's been practicing being gentle, and your mum, she's the most amazing woman in the world. You're so lucky she's yours. Naomi would run her fingers through his hair, overwhelmed with love for this man who'd once seemed so cold and dangerous, but who was actually the most devoted husband and father imaginable. Their son was born on a spring morning, tiny and perfect with a head full of black hair. They named him Kai, and the moment Junwoo held him for the first time, tears streaming down his face, Naomi knew their family was complete. Thank you, he whispered to Naomi as she rested in the hospital bed, exhausted but happy. Hana cuddled beside her, staring at her baby brother in wonder. Thank you for giving me this. For choosing me, for loving me. Thank you for finding me, Naomi said. Or rather, thank you for having a daughter who found me on those church steps. Best day of my life, even if it didn't feel like it at the time. Looking at her family now, her devoted husband, her sweet daughter, her precious newborn son, Naomi could barely remember the pain of being abandoned at her first wedding. That heartbreak had led her here, to this moment, to this perfect happiness. She'd been broken and lost, sitting alone in a ruined wedding dress. Now she was whole and found, surrounded by love. I love you, Junwoo said, kissing her, forehead gently. My brave, beautiful wife, the love of my life, my forever. I love you too, Naomi said, forever and always. And as she looked at her husband holding their son while their daughter chattered excitedly about all the things she'd teach her baby brother, Naomi knew this was her happy ending, not the one she'd planned, but the one she was meant to have all along. Sometimes the best love stories start with broken hearts. Sometimes you have to be abandoned to find where you truly belong. Sometimes the right person finds you when you least expect it, in the form of a 6-year-old girl with pigtails who says, "Be my mum," and sometimes, just sometimes, fairy tales do come true. You just have to be brave enough to believe in second chances. Thank you so much for reading Naomi and Junwoo's love story. If this story touched your heart, made you believe in second chances, or just gave you all the feels, please hit that subscribe button. Your support means the world and helps me create more beautiful love stories like this one. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, where are you watching from? What was your favourite moment in the story? Should I make more stories about second chance romances? Team Naomi or Team Junwoo? Just kidding. We're all team love. Don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who believes in true love. Let's spread the message that being abandoned doesn't mean you're not worthy of love. Sometimes it means something even better is waiting for you. Until next time, keep believing in love, keep believing in second chances, and remember, your person is out there, maybe waiting on some church steps with a 6-year-old Cupid by their side.